Okay, so for a second here, let's have a look at French football. PSG are currently looking like they're being eliminated from the Champions League in the bottom 8. Lyon is looking like they could be also relegated to the second tier for financial issues. Marseille is signing every ex-convict on this planet. French football is currently in distress as Kylian Mbappe ain't even being called up to the national team. Alongside that, their last European Championships, they didn't score a single goal in open play. Ligue 1 struggled to even find a TV deal. Most French clubs are really in distress financially, and the league is called McDonald's. French football, despite its league having a somewhat negative reputation for being kind of boring and predictable, despite the fact they've actually had at least some new winners in the last couple of years, or different winners. Lille won it not too long ago. Monaco won it back in 2017. But on top of that pie, the cherry of Ligue 1 is Paris Saint-Germain, which, similar to Manchester City, got new investment and ownership from the golf course, and they look to take on the elite in Europe. However, a decade or so has gone by after failing consistently to really make their mark in European competition for the longest time, buying every single top name player on high wages possible on this planet. They now end up with a team which doesn't even have most players that people can really even name if you're a casual. A league which people care about even less because they keep on winning it, making it just not interesting for most people to even watch, and billions of pounds in the bin. Paris Saint-Germain is potentially football's biggest failure. Despite them winning the league countless times, it kind of really means nothing to people in the general football sphere. Comment down below your thoughts on PSG. Can they get a rebuild to really move on? Can they be back into the European Elite again? Can he actually get it right? Because they've been critiqued for having too many big names. However, they've now gone almost too far on the other side where they just kind of come across as a bit mediocre. That kind of makes the point even more stronger here. Despite them having all these big names now gone, they're still looking like they'll probably just still win the league because they are so far beyond most of the league in terms of their finances. So who really cares? So comment down below your thoughts, like, and subscribe. Okay, so I'm sure you guys are aware of this fun little meme that I have, which is, hey, do you know I live in Poland? Well, because I do live in the EU, it means that I'm location locked from a vast majority of things that you would not imagine. Pretty much every single highlights package by Sky Sports or BT Sport or anything in the UK, I can't actually see. So having a VPN is completely vital for me. So that's why this video has been sponsored by Proton VPN. I cannot recommend having a VPN enough. There's so many times where it is so useful. For example, another popular one is just watching streaming services in other countries. So if you want to go and see Netflix, the EU version or the US version, with a VPN, it's so simple to just select the nation where you want to connect to their server, and then you've got their services. And the main key reason really is your privacy, where because of having a VPN will hide your real IP address, it means that you can safely browse the internet privately, and it means that every single thing you do is safe and secure. And with Proton VPN, it also has a little cool thing where it has a integrated ad block as well. Proton VPN has over 8,500 servers in over 112 countries, meaning no matter where you want to go and connect to in the world, it has it. And it is also incredibly high speed, and I'll showcase the example here. As you can see, I'm on Proton VPN now, and let's say that, I want to go connect to the UK because I want to go and, watch the Sky Sports Premier League stuff. Well, there you go, connect to it, and within 3 seconds, boom, you're now connected. For example as well, let's say you want to go connect to the US, go watch the US Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever you want to watch. Boom, there you go, and within 3 seconds, you're now connected to the US safely and securely. And right now, because it is a Black Friday Christmas period, if you use a link down below top of the description, you get the first 3 months free. So link down below top of the description, make sure to go check it out and enjoy the rest of the video. And thank you Proton VPN for sponsoring too. Let's go. There's something weird about PSG right now. A club that, of course, transformed by the Qatari wealth, just forced their way into Europe with big names like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, of that era of 2013. You can remember that kit, and it had a swagger to them. You had Cavani up top, and they had Thiago Silva at the back, and it was exciting a little bit, because maybe a new team can be at a top level. And now they are barely even having a chance in the Champions League here. This week they of course lost to Bayern Munich, which is not really a shame in losing to them, but right now they're currently in the bottom 8. And alongside them is also Real Madrid, which I've talked about them enough, so if I do one more video on Real Madrid, they may actually come and hurt me, their fans. I don't even need to prove it to you, but PSG are of course unbeaten in the league this season. 10 wins and 2 draws. They're already 6 points clear, and they probably will go on to win Liga this year. However, in the Champions League, they are really poor. Of course, lost to Bayern Munich away, but then lost at home to Atletico Madrid, drew at home to PSV Eindhoven, lost away to Arsenal. They beat Girona though, and you may say, okay, but looking at their games that they played, it looks like it's still kind of tough, and you may have a point with that. However, looking at the next few games, they got RB Salzburg away. That probably should be a win. However, you kind of never know in this new format. They got Manchester City at home, which by the time they play City in the 22nd of January, they may actually not suck. And then the last game is away at Stuttgart, which seems like a very tough game on paper for me. Stuttgart, German team away from home, that's not a guaranteed win either. So other than RB Salzburg, it could be a tough one for them, and they could actually be out of the Champions League. Now, PSG, of course, still has Luis Enrique, and they are talking a lot about this project, the project of PSG after the era of Messi, Neymar, well, really Neymar and Mbappe, right? Now, if I can name you, just name me their team. Can you name me their team? Because this is the thing. If I go to like my friends in England, like my Burnley friends or just whoever else, and I'll say, who's starting up top for PSG right now? Unless if they play FIFA, they probably don't know. And that's a problem. Against Bayern Munich up top, they had Bradley Barcola, Ousmane Dembele, that had an absolute stinker in that game, by the way. Midfield of Fabian Ruiz, João Neves, Vitinha, and Warren Emery. A back four of Nuno Mendes, William Pachau, Marquinhos, Hakimi, and in goal is a keeper called Safonov. And the thing is, to just the general casual fan, they probably don't know of most of these players, which is maybe not a big problem because they will have to know them eventually. They will become good eventually. But if they keep on being mediocre in the European level, they will just become a mediocre club. And after all the money that they spent, that is not good enough. Their club president, the Qatari owner, Nasser Al-Khairi, labelled the past the flashy bling bling era, that's by his own words, adding Messi and Sergio Ramos to a team that already had Neymar and Kylian Mbappe. And what did that mean? That meant massive wages, it meant disharmony on and off the pitch, and a loss of complete cohesion and plan, which this stripping back exercise of getting rid of all the big names, they've done almost too much here, where they just don't have that much quality in European level. But hey, at least they can probably still win Liga. And PSG, by the way, have only scored 3 times in the Champions League this season, by the way. If I was to ask you who's their top goal scorer in Liga for PSG, it's Bradley Barcola with 10 and Kangin Lee with 6. And by the way, I don't want to come across here as if I'm really dumbing down on PSG here, but you got to think of it from a pure casual level. Most people wouldn't know who Kangin Lee is or Bradley Barcola is, and I think that plays a factor into why people just don't really care about PSG, and people just don't really care about Ligue 1, because despite who they have, they will still win it. In the newspapers in France, they're labeling PSG as le déclassement, as a downgrade of the football club. And PSG are a club which no longer really exists in Europe anymore. Their moment in the competitions and their moments on the big stage was brief and was confusing at best. Keep in mind, Luis Enrique, who is predominantly known as a very good football coach, has won 6 games in the Champions League in the last 17, all of his times that he's been at PSG. PSG have gone from Cavani, Lavezzi and Zlatan Ibrahimovic to Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, to now Bradley Barcola, Ousmane Dembele and Gonzalo Ramos. In the last decade, PSG that seemed to be just easy enough to win Ligue 1, but that leap to the Champions League, the big pressure moments always seem to hit them. Now, this year they do have quite a young team across their 12 matches in Ligue 1 this year, which is 10 wins and 2 draws. They have the most possession, of course, 68%, and they are only second to Bayern in the top 5 leagues in terms of average possession. But then when they play a top-level team with all the possession, it just isn't seen. For example, Vizeh Emery only had 7 passes by the time Bayern Munich scored in the 38th minute. But you know what? Maybe they need to suffer to move forward. Similar to kind of how Chelsea rebuilt and they focus on a young team to invest into the future, to then, you know, have some short-term suffering to hopefully get long-term gain in the future. They're kind of similar to Chelsea in that way. When you look at their team, they're still quite a very young team, you know, and they're investing into the youth here. You got Vitinha in midfield with Vizeh Emery and Bradley Barcola up top as well. João Neves in midfield. They've got some young players there that can move forward in the future. However, that has come with some failures. For example, Ugarte and Colomirani. Ugarte came in for a good amount of money and then just fell out of favour immediately, of course being sold to Manchester United. And then Colomirani, who seemed as a pretty big name and exciting talent that was over in Germany, and now he's only played 2 games, started 2 games for PSG this season. By the way, even Donnarumma was actually fit for that game. He was on the bench. Donnarumma isn't even starting, he's even out of favour now. And it even is kind of weird even with PSG and the fans. The fans at Paris Saint-Germain are getting on their back quite a lot here. You've seen many times them even booing their own players, booing Lionel Messi, and with the entire Kylian Mbappe era and the contracts they were giving him, it seems like even their own fans don't even like PSG right now, and people in France definitely don't like them. So they spent all this money to become even hated, with no European success, but a ton of trophies in France, making France even less interesting to most people in the country. So I don't know what they've got to show for it. They've got now some young players going down a Chelsea route here maybe and trying to invest into the future, short-term paying for long-term gain, all that kind of stuff. But will they ever be back in top-level Champions League? I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure many people would want to go to PSG if they're a young talent. Why would you go to France? Why would you go to PSG? Yes, you may win something in Ligue 1. You may get paid a lot more money. But maybe they'd be going for the wrong reasons. Maybe they wouldn't be going for competitive reasons, be going for maybe just the glamour and the lifestyle and the money that you get. French football is going through a bit of a problem right now, and even their fans don't even care about it. So yeah, comment down below your thoughts on PSG. They may even be knocked out of Champions League. They got RB Salzburg to beat, away from home, and at this stage I can't even guarantee they'll beat them. But hey, most importantly, at least they'll win Ligue 1. Someone gets Latin out of retirement.